Today we recap match day 10 as United save Ole for now. Tottenham do their best to get Nuno sacked, which he was, after a 3-0 defeat to the aforementioned United side. Big side slip up as City and Liverpool drop points at home. We'll also touch on everything from Chelsea's win at Newcastle to the lifeline that was Burnley's win. Don't look now, but everything's coming up Arsenal. All that and previewing Matchweek 11 on this week's episode of the Premiership Perusal Podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs. The ball in behind Damian. Vardy! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
What up?
Hank, how's it going?
We're chilling.
Double digits.
Chilling like a villain.
Numero cinco plus cinco equals 10 in Spanish. Never got that far.
Well, we'll leave it at cinco.
Cinco. Okay. That's 5, right? Cinco?
Yes, it is.
All right. Fair enough.
We're talking about 5.
Talking
We're talking about a
five.
team on the brink. Well, I guess there's 6 on goal differential, but they're tied for 5th. Started off match week 10. It was Leicester, Arsenal. Big matchup right here.
Yes.
Wondering what Leicester side we're going to get. Well, we're reading it off right here. We had Schmeichel, Soyuncu, Evans, Amarte, Tielemans, Castagne, Luke Thomas, Sumare, Vardy, Madison, Iheanacho. As far as Arsenal, Ramsdale, Ben White, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Tavares, Partey, Saka, ESR, Sambi, Lacazette, and Aubameyang. I always wonder what to call Sambi because doesn't he have that on the back of his kit?
Yeah.
But then I almost
Yeah,
want to just call
Sambi.
him Lokanga because
Yeah.
it's not that hard of a name to say.
Yeah, I feel like Lakanga just kind of rolls off the tongue, but
You know,
Sambi. Yeah, whatever. Albert Sambi Lakanga.
he should just be Albert.
Albert Big Al.
Big Al. dude.
Shout out Al Jefferson.
With this one, anything stand out to you about either lineup? I thought it was a little strange getting Luke Thomas in there.
Yeah, I was going to mention that
when
actually.
I first saw it, I was like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Just bring him in after he hasn't played like for the past month.
Yeah, and we'll get to how he does. But no, I was going to say same thing. But it kind of starts off, as every Arsenal game does, with pressure by Arsenal for the first 10 minutes. They always seem to look the better side in the first 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Or they're at least competing for sure. But, I thought, obviously, they don't always take their chances early on.
Right.
This game, able to take it. Gabriel.
Yeah, not to mention the chance almost right off the bat, Saka with a good run into the box. But yeah, Gabriel rising up at the near post from the corner. It's 1-0, 5 minutes in. Arsenal somehow are a wonderful set-piece taking team now.
I don't know what that is because they're not really built for it, but yet here we are. I thought Saka had a really good game. I thought that was his best game of the year so far. He was kind of all over the place in terms of defense, in a good way. Defensively, going forward, I thought he was looking sharp out there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, you have the solidity of the back line as well. Gabriel and Ben White, been a great partnership so far. Gabriel, weapon in the air.
Yeah, what can you do? He had the dancing going. He
Had the
guns.
dancing.
Had the guns going. Soon after that,
Yeah.
a little spell of possession from Leicester.
Not a whole
lot, but and they really couldn't get anything going. And the fans were just on their ass the whole game. And which is hilarious because I think the announcer said at one point, he's like, it's like Leicester haven't woke up, which they really hadn't. They were just caught out.
Yeah, the
by
early
these
kickoffs.
chances.
Sometimes, it can kind of
Hop up on a
create
team.
some strange situations for some reason or whatever.
And then the second goal, Emile Smith-Rowe. If there ever was my guy for Arsenal, it's him. And, of course, Marty. But, it was just sloppy play from Leicester
Yeah.
yet again. Kind of just allowing that wide play to get further. And then just a poor clearance by Thomas.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much what it comes down to. I mean, it falls perfectly to Smith-Rowe, who just catches it first time, little pass into the back of the net. Right place at the right time. But, yeah, it's more about the defensive inefficiencies of Leicester so far in this game. I mean, to be fair, Arsenal has looked good, but, you concede this goal and you conceded a goal off the corner. It's pretty frustrating to be
Put 2-0 down.
2-0 down
after
like that.
20, and it's like, okay. Yeah, after that, they kind of woke up, and it was a mix of Arsenal were like, we'll probably play a little more defensively now. We really don't need to push for a third unless they're just going to give us possession. But
nothing too strange really about that. I mean, that's kind of been what Arsenal has done so far. I mean, strong early start and then a little more passive.
yeah, which it doesn't always work, as we saw in the Palace game. But in this one, Leicester just not nearly as sharp in attack. I thought Tielemans had moments where he's able to spread, and that was more second half and as the game went on. But yeah, no, there was really nothing going in the first half, as far as I thought, for Leicester's attack, really.
Yeah, and I mean, pretty much anything that they had was either stopped by the back line or stopped by Aaron Ramsdale.
That free kick,
Yeah, the
potentially save of the year.
huge moment shortly before halftime. Leicester get a free kick outside of the box. James Maddison hits it. It looks like it's going in the whole time. And then somewhere, out of absolute nowhere, Aaron Ramsdale
Big save.
flying through the
onto
air.
the post.
Onto the post.
And then who? Tomiyasu cleared it or Gabriel cleared it? One of the defenders got back to kind of get it out
cleared
of there.
off the line. Just
Unbelievable.
absolutely insane save. I mean, that's got to be one of the best I've ever seen, let alone this season.
It was big time. Keeps it 2-0. They go to half. More of the same from Leicester. Leicester kind of come out pounding. Arsenal willing to sit back. I thought Leicester picked it up in the second half, but I kind of thought Arsenal was a little lackadaisical, kind of sitting back a little too much, not as energetic as they were in the first half. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's kind of down to the personnel. The players you have aren't really possession-focused players. They're more just kind of like, I want to get the ball and I want to run and try and score.
Yeah, but even like times in their back line, like it just felt like there were holes for Leicester to exploit and get into the second level behind the midfield and then even through behind the back line, but they just weren't able to capitalize. And then if they did, it didn't matter because Ramsdale would save it. But yeah, he put on one hell of a show this week.
Yeah, he's been incredible. I mean, he was incredible before this game, and then this game, it's like somehow stepped it up to even another level.
Yeah, you can't even begin to say like how important of a signing this is for Arsenal. Not even from just like you're getting production, elite production really out of a player, which you haven't really had in a while. But this is at least something to build off of. You know, he's a younger piece. It seems like this, along with Saka, Emile Smith-Rowe, it kind of feels like they're getting something going.
Yeah, it's definitely a different Arsenal than previous years, that's for sure. A lot more positivity around the squad. A big moment. We got a big save, 1v1. Harvey Barnes gets saved by Ramsdale. But how about this one? Johnny Evans somehow evades the red card. Last man back tackle. What are your thoughts on this play?
There's always got to be card controversy with Arsenal. In this one, I do agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to mention, Johnny Evans could have got a yellow card like 5 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
A push on Ramsdale.
The ref didn't see it.
And the annoying thing about this one, too, as there was another one this match week that was given. You know,
the reffing lately has been very poor. And not even, it goes out of just English play, but even in the Champions League, some of the English refs are having a rough go. I don't know. I assumed it was going to be when I was watching it. Couldn't believe it, but
yeah, it's just those inconsistencies so far that have been pretty frustrating.
yeah, they're gonna have to iron it out.
I mean, if you're gonna say no, none of these are a red, then that's fine. That's the standard that you set.
But then some of them are called, and that's where it creates a gray area.
Yeah, and it's frustrating if you don't get it. So, anyways, Arsenal, around like the 75th minute or so, they kind of start getting back into the game. They're getting a little more possession, looking brighter. You feel like they've weathered the storm at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Leicester still had chances, but they weren't nearly as good. They weren't really ever through on net again, as far as I can remember. And
it was less so of Arsenal kind of clinging to life at that point. It was more just, okay, we can see this game out.
Yeah, you felt confident in it.
Yep.
And they go on 2-0. Ramsdale, clear man of the match. Going forward, obviously, Arsenal and Fuego, killing it. They're going to keep doing their thing. As far as Leicester, any takeaway from this?
I would
Tough
say,
first 20, but going forward, stuff to build off of?
Yeah, it's probably a little harsher than it seems. I mean, they played good enough that they easily could have had a draw, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, but then again, there's also something to be said. You're kind of disappointing that you can't build on your momentum that you had going. And
would you say this game was more Leicester's attack or defense that let them down? Probably defense.
Yeah, I would say defense. I mean, you expect them to be a little more solid, especially with Johnny Evans being in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you'd have to say defense because the first 20 minutes obviously put them behind the 8 ball, but then the attack, they still looked fine. It was just a matter of Arsenal had some amazing.
I mean, if the goalkeeper's standing on his head,
there's only so much you can do. Well, let me talk to you about a team that's standing on their head for the first time this year. It's Burnley.
We love you, Burnley. We do.
Burnley Brentford start this one off with Pope, Lowton, Taylor, Tarkovsky, me, Goodmanson, Brownhill, McNeil, Westwood, Wood, and Cornier in there. As far as Brentford, we got Alvaro Fernandez, Raya, out about 4 to 5 months with a knee injury. That's a big blow to them. He's been really good this year. Probably top 5 keep. Yep. Pinnock, Janssen, Zanka, Onyeka, Henry, Nørgaard, Kanos, Jensen, Marcus Forss, their top scorer this year in all competitions, getting a start. No Premier League experience before that, and along with Ivan Toney in there.
Yeah, a little different look from Brentford. Obviously, the forced change with David Raya, but as far as Burnley goes, that's a Burnley lineup. Nothing too crazy.
They sometimes they'll rotate a couple of the wide players out, obviously, but
Yeah, nothing more than your usual 13 or so guys.
Yes. This one off to a quick start. Right away, you could tell that something was a little different in this game. If you just watch 3 plays from Burnley, the long ball efficiency was significantly better than it had been all year. They weren't just completely hoofed upfield. They had some purpose behind it. They were actually able to get Chris Wood involved in multiple ways. Honestly, I kind of thought he had not that great of a game. He missed a good amount of his chances. But,
he was getting in the right spaces. At least.
4th minute, he takes it. His pass from Lowton up, edge of the box. I don't know, not really a chip. Kind of like a lofted shot, though.
Yeah, it was kind of like Fernandez came out and was kind of in no man's land there.
Yeah.
Just had to get it over him.
Which he did. 1-0 Burnley. I mean, with this one, too, another thing is that teams are really looking to expose Brentford and stretch them lately. They're experiencing some issues as far as long balls past them. We talked about how good Brentford's midfield is. If you're able to have your defenders just ping balls over the midfield and make put pressure on their back line with speed and your attackers, you're going to have way more success than trying to go through Brentford's midfield.
Yeah, this was the first game where I saw Brentford's defense look like really shaky, and it's like, ooh, this is concerning because you're getting torn apart like this from Burnley.
Yeah.
That's concerning. And like you said, it doesn't matter how good your midfield is if you can just bypass them. My one thing about this game is I'd be curious to see if Christopher Ayer was in there, if it'd be any different or kind of same story.
It'd probably be a little better because, I mean, he's replaced by Zonka, who's not bad, but Ayer, a little more mobility, a little better defensively. I just think he's a better all-around player. So I would say it might be a little, it wouldn't be quite as bad, but would they still have lost this game? Yeah, I think so.
And not to mention, too, a lot of the balls were coming over kind of on the Rico Henry, Ethan Pinnock side.
Yeah, Rico Henry was having a rough go.
Yeah.
And that's shown by that second goal. First we have the disallowed goal from Cornier, the offside one, but the second goal just gets beat on a header. I mean, you could part of the blame goes to the keep. Could he have come out and punched it out? Maybe. Should he have just stayed in net? Probably. But instead he did that thing where he kind of came halfway out again, gets caught out. Like we were talking about Henry getting caught out.
Yeah.
Got postered.
Yeah.
Got postered. No, but just sloppy from Brentford at the back.
Yeah, it's kind of like, we need to kind of reassess. And we need to figure out a way to, because it was pretty obvious what Burnley's game plan was, 5 minutes into this game. At that point, you need to be like, okay, we need to reassess and make a change or something. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily substitution, but tactically.
Maybe drop the wingbacks back a bit further.
Yeah.
And have your line play even further back, the back three. Just don't give Wood space and Cornier space to get behind. Mm-hmm. Maybe make them hold up play and have Burnley, sure, they establish possession or something against you, but that's better than having them through on net, or they can peel off to the corner and then swing some balls in for guys.
Yeah, you want to stop the bleeding, and then if they beat you a different way, then, that's fine. But at least stop them from doing what they're doing so easily.
Yeah, this one was no bueno for Brentford all the way around. Even in attack, they really only had one chance in the first half. Tony had that shot. Great save by Pope to get down.
Save, yeah.
But just not a ton going from them. Anything else you noticed in this one? As far as the first half?
Yeah, first half.
The Goodmanson save. He had like a breakaway. And he just shot it right at Fernandez. I don't know what that was.
That was pretty disappointing. But, yeah, you can just kind of tell Fernandez eye test. Making me a little nervous.
Oh, and then Cornet's goal. I thought that was second half. Cornet with the third. Huh?
Yeah, third.
Yes. Nice worked play. McNeil, I thought, looked tremendous this game. Mm-hmm. Had a nice little dribble sequence. Was able to create some space, lay it off Cornet, who was just behind. He's just in behind.
Yeah.
Rips it. Upper 90. So 3-0 at half.
Yeah,
and if you're Brentford,
2-0, but yeah.
Brentford, at this point, you're just trying to create something going forward and attack. Maybe look towards, just getting some feels good vibes going.
Maybe bringing on some different players and see what they have to offer.
Yeah, I mean,
going forward.
They took off Onyeka for your guy, Goodhouse.
The Iranian.
Yes. So, I don't know. I didn't notice anything in the second half that was really different. They put more pressure on, but they didn't really have amazing chances, I didn't think.
Yeah, I mean, the one goal for Brentford just kind of came out of nowhere, and it was an absolute insane goal.
Yeah, it was a hoofball forward. Norgard got on the end of it, kind of curled around, played it towards the top of the box, and Gudos just,
mint.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen the goal, please watch this goal. That is a beautiful goal. One of the best you'll see.
Yeah, and we'll just say it ends 3-1.
Yeah.
Big win for Burnley. I was mainly impressed by Burnley's ability this game defensively. They really didn't let Brentford have anything. They didn't have any slip-ups. That's been the thing with Burnley lately. Like, you look at the Southampton game last week. They just have these mental lapses, like the Tarkovsky pass and stuff, that just blow their lead. And it's like, you have a lead. You're built on defense. You got to be able to maintain that. Mm-hmm. They haven't. But today, they did. So good job. Good job, Burnley. So it finishes 3-1 for Burnley. Good for Burnley. Defense holds up. Not blowing any leads. Anything you got to say about Burnley in this one? Is it just praise for your guy McNeil or Cornet?
Oh, man, they look so good going forward, honestly. Like, that's just what we were waiting to see. Kind of a breakout performance from Burnley.
Yeah, I mean, when they're able to ping these long balls down the field, and they're not even, like, perfect, but they're at least near and can give Wood a chance or Cornet a chance,
Yeah.
that's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
Going in the first 8 games, they've just been shit at it. And all they can do is strike off corners, really.
Right. Yeah, this was the first game where you actually think that Burnley was the better team.
Yeah, to say the least.
So, moving on. Liverpool versus Brighton.
Oh, man.
The true test, because last week we were talking about Man City versus Brighton, and I was saying Liverpool, they're better than that.
Well, we'll see. Alisson, Van Dijk, Konate, Robertson, Alexander-Arnold, Keita, Henderson, Curtis Jones, Firmino, Salah, and Mane. As far as Brighton go, Bobby Sanchez, Cucurella, Dunk, Duffy, your guy is back in there. Veltman, Bissouma back in there. Mwepu, Lallana, Motor, Solly March, and who's up top? Trossard?
Yeah, different kind of lineup from Brighton there.
The 5 in midfield.
The 5 in midfield, almost like 6 because you have Trossard up front.
Yeah, he's kind of like a false 9, yeah.
On the TV during this pre-match,
they had him as the lone striker, which he really wasn't.
They showed Mwepu like farther up, which was confusing because he wasn't actually.
No.
He was just like a central mid.
Yeah.
Which is what he was, which was weird. But yeah, interesting strategy. Just kind of load up on quality passing midfielders.
Yeah, it's something because, I mean, they're going to need that in order to, if they're going to hold possession, which they like to do. But even as far as pressing and providing any kind of work rate defensively when Liverpool are holding the ball, you don't need, not like Neil Maupay's like god-awful at pressing or anything, or his work rate, but it is definitely a drop-off compared to a regular midfielder, obviously. So,
yeah. I was happy to see Shane Duffy back in the lineup as well.
Yeah, they needed to get him back in. He's been killing it this year. Yeah, right off the bat, Brighton had some stuff going.
Yeah, they did. Solly March with a good chance. And if you're Brighton, you're saying, okay, it's looking good.
We're in it.
We're already in the game.
Forcing Alisson to make big saves.
Forcing Alisson into the saves. And at that point, you're saying, okay, we can get a result out of this game.
Yeah. And then Van Dijk just hits a perfect long ball to Salah. Salah beats his man out wide, cuts it back to Henderson, top of the box. Perfect shot, 1-0.
No one said it was going to be easy, to be fair. I mean, it is Liverpool.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, this play was set up by Van Dijk. Perfect pass to pick out Salah up the wing.
Yeah. I mean, it's just...
And Henderson, great shot as well.
How can you stop that?
No,
you really can't.
You can't stop it. You can only hope to contain it.
Yeah.
But then Brighton come right back. They have a few chances, holding a little bit of possession. It was kind of, this first half was really, not really take turns as far as possession, but it was back and forth in terms of good possession.
Yeah, it definitely was back and forth. Mm-hmm. Bissouma, 15th minute, hits the post after robbing the ball from Firmino. And then Firmino has a great chance at goal. Hits it high. Disappointing.
That was bad.
But then, Liverpool, strike twice.
Your guy Oxlade-Chamberlain, who had to come on for Naby Keita.
Yeah.
Liverpool injury.
Injury, yeah.
Liverpool injury. You heard it here first.
Yeah, it was a nice a little curling ball into Mane, who's just completely wide open. I don't know how that happens.
Got crossed up, and he was tipping back, and Mane right past him for the header. Not much Bobby Sanchez could do on that one. 2-0, and you're thinking, all right, well, Brighton are going to have to score. Again, a little back and forth, not a ton going on. And then just an almost catastrophic error on Brighton's defense/goalkeeper. Again, Bobby Sanchez last week with a rough go against City. Almost had another one, Mane. But goal was disallowed. Hit Mane's arm on the clearance.
Yeah, it was a weird, where he tackled the ball and then...
That's one of those where I've seen where they don't call it, because they'll call it incidental, I feel like. I would say it is, but I'm just saying...
in previous seasons, it probably wouldn't have been called, but I feel like they're just so strict about if you score a goal and it hits your arm, they're just going to automatically disallow it. Even if you have, no possible way of... preventing
where you're
that from
sliding,
happening.
you're sliding, and you have your arms behind you, and the ball gets cleared, and it goes underneath your torso or your back and hits your arm and goes in. But
yeah, Bobby Sanchez, it's been looking a little rough the past couple of weeks.
He's got to put his baseball hat back on. That's his problem.
Yes, hats on.
And then Brighton go down, spoil the possession, and this is kind of how it felt a little bit with their possession at times, and always kind of does, where it's it gets to the point to where they're working it, but it's not really going anywhere. They were on the wing for a good while, wasn't really going anywhere. So Mwepu just pops a shot.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'll just take it.
Don't mind if I do.
And we've been talking about that with Brian, where it's just do something out of the box. Do something out of the ordinary. What does Mwepu do? He just goes for it. Guess what? He dinks it right over Allison's head.
Yeah. It was kind of a shot.
Yeah.
But not really, but kind of.
It was a shot, but no one was there for the cross, so I count it as a shot.
Yeah, we're not really sure. We'll have to bring it to the committee. But yeah, that's a great one to pull back that goal before halftime. You
give
go
yourself
in,
a fighting chance. Some momentum.
Only down 2-1, easy.
You never know. They come out, Salah offside. After that, I wanted to make note of, what's his name? Basuma got subbed off. So they're still working him in because he came on for the substitute appearance. Now he's starting, but he's only going 60.
Yeah.
From now on, you'd think he's probably back to 90 full minutes, or 80, even thereabouts. So that's a big development, I think, for Brighton going forward, getting their best player back fully fit. But then they come down. Nice passing sequence on this one by Brighton. Really well worked up the wing. Trossard, from former Liverpool man, Adam Lallana.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? Brighton, the game plan worked. Graham Potter says, okay, I'm going to put on a bunch of midfield players who are really, pretty technically good players that can pass the ball really well. And that's how we're going to beat Liverpool. We're just going to pass right around them. And it worked perfectly. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful the way they were just working the ball so effortless. It wasn't like the predictable Brighton that we've seen at times. It was free-flowing, peak Brighton.
Yeah.
You don't need Neil Maupay when you're passing like that.
Very true. Very true. Going on, there weren't a ton of chances for Liverpool, at least as far as not many clear-cut chances. You noted one about Brighton had one, but didn't really result in anything. So it finishes 2-2. What are your main takeaways from this game, other than your guy Minamino still on Liverpool?
Yeah, that is a takeaway. Not sure why he's on.
How did
Liverpool.
Roberto Firmino stay until the 70th minute?
That's a good question as well. I'm not too sure about that. I would say from a Brighton perspective to start off, I would say you could have won this game if you were a little more solid at the back,
Yeah, it was very much like the Leicester part, except those were a little more well-worked goals by
true.
Liverpool than the Arsenal goals, not to take anything away from Arsenal because they were still good goals and they earned them, but there's a lot more individual skill in those Liverpool goals. But I would say the main takeaway for Liverpool, you lose Naby Keita, who's been amazing.
Yeah.
Now you're relying on Oxlade-Chamberlain. We'll see how he gets integrated into the side. I don't know. That was strange from Liverpool's defense. They've looked pretty good this whole year. And then out of nowhere, they just get worked by Brighton.
Yeah, I think it is an issue, though, when you replace Keita with Ox. I mean, Ox is going to be a more attacking player. And, there were a number of times where there was just so much space in the midfield for Brighton to kind of work the ball around.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, Liverpool, it's kind of always been the story of their season was that it was going to come down to whether they could stay healthy enough.
Yeah, and I think just as a rule, they have to start Jota.
Yeah.
They just have to. I'm sorry. But you don't have a choice, Klopp. I'm not giving you a choice.
Yeah, I mean, Firmino, he'll score, but it seems like Jota is just helps out more.
Yeah, doing
around,
more
rather than just popping up and scoring.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. Moving on, the other big game with a big team that dropped points at home, Man City, Crystal Palace. City's lineup: Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Laporte, Cancelo, Rodri, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Gabby Jesus, Jack Grealish, Phil Foden. As far as Palace's side, we're looking at Guaita, Ward, Mitchell, Guehi, Anderson, Kouyaté, MacArthur, Gallagher, Ayew, Zaha, Edward.
No Benteke.
I know.
Thank the Lord.
Well, that's your problem because you predicted that he'd hit the post. And
That's
you know what?
true.
He did not hit the post. As a matter of fact, he did virtually nothing.
Yes.
Early on in this game, first 10 minutes, I don't know. I wouldn't say City was overly dominant or anything, but I wouldn't say Palace was. Palace definitely looked up for it. And you show by that in the 6th minute.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, pressing straight off the bat. Zaha.
Yes.
Just absolutely immense.
Wilf was in their head the entire game.
Yes, 100%. He was doing mind games to the utmost extent, and it worked brilliantly.
Laporte just took too long on the ball. Gallagher takes it off him. Diaz is pretty much in a 2-on-1 here. Well worked by Gallagher and Zaha. I didn't hear anyone make this point. Shouldn't that be saved?
Yeah.
It was a scuff shot. That should have been saved.
It definitely should have.
No one made a point about that. I was like, what? Are we just going to ignore that?
When it went in, it was like, wait, that went in?
Yeah.
What? It was so slow.
Yeah. It wasn't terrible in terms of, I wouldn't say it was a terrible shot because it was good placement. It was far post, but I think it skipped twice.
Yeah.
I don't know what Ederson was doing.
It was so strange. It's one of those where you're just like,
maybe he
that
must have
just
thought
doesn't
it
look right.
Yeah, he must have misjudged that it was going to bounce or something like that. But
yeah, pretty sloppy from Laporte.
Just sloppy from City in general. I think that their passing this game was no bueno.
It was so bad to start the game. I mean, this is one of those times where you're like, okay, City, what? Like, they just all of a sudden like suck for some reason, and they're getting pressed. None of their passes are working. And it seems like maybe they are on top so much of the time that when it does happen, it kind of just rattles them.
I don't know. I think part of it's motivation and not getting up for these games. They have to first off get De Bruyne going. I don't know what they're doing, not incorporating him more. It's as great of a system as for Pep. It was predictable, at least by Patrick Vieira and Crystal Palace. They were jumping passing lanes like non-stop in the first half.
Right.
It was incredible to see. And then not only were Palace intercepting these passes, they're making these tremendous decisions, these players, to either work it back, get a little possession, or they'll go ahead, kind of hang around the ball, get fouled, win their team a free kick. Mm-hmm. It was just so well done by Palace.
Yeah, and then on the other side, City, for me, I was just so frustrated because it's like, okay, we're continuing to try and force this, heavy possession pass offense. And, it just doesn't seem like there's a plan B. Like, obviously it wasn't working. Maybe try, something a little more direct, get past the pressing. But City no one looked like they were really up for the game.
Yeah, just slow. Passing wasn't on, lacked quality. Their only chance of the first half came off a corner. The ball kind of, I guess, didn't really bounce around. It was a nice pass. But Rodri had a nice look. It was just unfortunate it fell to Rodri. And then as we get to the second half, their best chance was to Rodri. Like, why?
Yeah.
These have to be falling to someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
But
the quality of players that you're playing and the number of quality players, and then the chances are ending up to Rodri. Is like,
he's your holding midfielder, and it's like,
he's
a good player, just not who you want. How is it not falling to Grealish, Foden, De Bruyne, Jesus? Like,
yeah,
this shouldn't be happening.
It was just so predictable.
Well, yeah, and especially even when City would get in pockets of space on the wing, and they would look like they're going to be threatening, they were never able to get the ball central to anyone because Anderson and Guehi were just all over the people in the middle.
Yeah. Too much this season, it just seems like they're like, okay, Jack Grealish, take the ball and, like, you do something.
Yeah, it's a lot. They're relying more on individual skill in the final third than their system.
Yeah.
And then I just don't know because their system isn't really working either. I think what they should do is that when stuff like this happens, if they let Palace have the ball, they shouldn't necessarily press. They shouldn't just sit back, but they shouldn't press as hard as they do to win it back immediately so you can get the ball and hold it again and let Palace get set up. They should, and it's not necessarily that they should just counter like they did against Brighton, but they should do something along those lines of, like, when you do get the ball, just go full steam ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was saying. You got to be a little more direct and not so predictable. Big moment in the match.
Oh, right before half.
45 plus 2 added minutes. Laporte shown red for bringing down Zaha, last man back. This is what I was referring to from the Arsenal game, but clear red card.
Yeah. What else did I say?
It's kind of that trademark City when they have this down game and they compound their errors.
Yeah.
And get a red card. And then you're really screwed.
Well, I mean, part of it is you tell Pep wants them to, if you lose the ball, just foul.
Yeah.
Just foul. And that there's nothing wrong with that. But what is their center back doing? Why is he doing that? Yeah, that shouldn't be the case. Mm-hmm. Just sloppy play from Laporte again. Had the worst game of anyone in this game by far. Scuffle, too, between Wilf and pretty much everyone on City.
Yeah, Zaha was getting everyone riled up. City, the fans, and you could tell, like, oh, this is going
swimmingly
accordingly
for Palace.
to plan.
Yeah. So it goes 1-0, halftime for Palace. City come out, again, just kind of keep holding the ball. Not a ton going on. And then what I noticed about this was their positional play by City, so their system in the second half, was so off-kilter. There were so many times that it was ball side overloaded in defense, and Palace could just counterattack as easy as they wanted to. Didn't you think?
Yeah, I mean, they were just kind of playing like they weren't down a man and just super exposed. But, I mean, it felt like they kind of had to be playing like that.
Yeah, but I mean, they literally, so if you have two center backs all the way back, but they're both on the same half of midfield, you're literally leaving a whole half of the field open for them to just go boop, all the way across the other side of the field. And then
that's kind of the risk you take if you're going to try and press as hard as they do to win the ball back, is that you're going to leave space open. And especially when you're playing against a guy like Wilfried Zaha, like, they're going to be able to capitalize on that. Some other teams maybe not, But Palace, they can get it out to Zaha pretty fast.
Even if it's Ayew, like he's not amazing, and you don't expect him to always finish, but he has enough pace to where he's gonna make you pay.
Yeah.
Same with Edouard. Like I don't know what that. That's what I was saying. Maybe sit back a slight bit, but they, Pep with his genius ball.
I mean, when they go down a man, like it's just
game over.
Who knows what's gonna happen because they're so bad down a man.
Zaha had a chance, couldn't score, and then the Jesus offside goal from I think the pass from Foden, right? Or Grealish, one of them.
Yeah, I don't know. Foden was the one offside.
I think it was. No.
It was a little earlier in the play.
I want to say the pass was to Foden. He was off, or Foden received the pass and was off, and then he passed it to Jesus.
Yeah, something like that.
But, I mean, that's all they had going for him. They couldn't create anything else, really. Rodri had one. Again, he put it high or wide. I forget, but it's from like the penalty spot.
Yeah, I did not think he had a good game either.
Speaking of not good game real quick, Benteke came on. Did he win a header? Like the only thing is out there to do, I don't think he won a header.
I don't know
They
if he
sent
did
a bunch
anything.
They sent him a bunch of long balls, couldn't do anything. But Palace finally do capitalize on the counter. Well-worked play by, who, I want to say.
Tarek Mitchell?
Yeah, Tarek Mitchell, and then
Yeah.
over to Elise to
Man, I
Gallagher.
gotta say, Tarek Mitchell is super underrated.
He's killing it. He's killing it this year. He's kind of like, him and Lamptey are very similar in terms of like people are kind of, fancy him, but I think Tarek Mitchell kind of a little above Lamptey now. I know that there's a little bit, or Lamptey was supposed to maybe go for like 30 mil. I don't think that was ever going to happen.
Yeah.
He's not really there yet, but no, I really like him. He does a lot going forward, and he's not the best when you just put him on an island to defend, but he can hold his own at times.
Yeah, I think he's
He did
fairly
amazing
decent
this game, though.
defending. I mean, I rate him as a better defender than Lamptey. I mean,
Yes.
Lamptey is pretty much like a winger
Wing
that you
back.
play
Yes.
in fullback, and I feel like Tarek Mitchell is kind of more of a pure
He's a defensive
fullback.
presence.
He's a little bit taller as well. I like his physical tools that he has. He's pretty fast too. But yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but we kind of predicted this from Palace that they would kind of grow into their team.
You can't go into the year thinking that Brentford and Palace just don't have midfields.
Yeah.
These teams have to start taking that into account when you're playing them. You're not just going to walk all over them. Finishes 2-0. I thought one interesting thing was that Guaita didn't get a yellow for time wasting till like the 86th. They
I know.
The whole time.
He was time wasting like the second minute of the game.
Any major takeaway for either side in this one?
Palace, I mean, this is a great piece to build on and really kind of launch yourself into kind of the middle chunk of the season where a lot gets done.
Yes.
A lot of points are awarded in the middle of the season, the holiday period.
You want to get hot.
You want to get hot, peak at the right time. Palace are looking great. Hopefully they can keep it up.
Is City ever going to get a wake-up call this year? No. Is this going to be it?
It just seems like anytime they play smaller teams at home, they can't really be bothered. They kind of just try and brute force their way.
That's why they just need a 9. Sometimes you just need a 9 to bag your goal against Newcastle.
And sometimes you have to accept that your system isn't working and try and play a different system.
Yeah.
But that's the problem with Pep, is that he refuses to ever change.
Yeah.
And he gets his players to play in this very specific system. And then even when guys leave Man City, it's like they're not even valuable because they've been trained to play in this weird system that no one else
can. Yeah. It'll be interesting when he leaves to see what they look like.
Yeah.
In a couple years.
And just one kind of final point, what you mentioned, like teams not respecting the midfields of like Brentford and Palace.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's kind of been a key thing so far this season. It's not just City, but teams in general disrespecting smaller teams and just thinking you can just play how you want to play without having to adapt to what the other team does.
Not the case.
It's just very frustrating when if you paid attention to this team, it's like, yeah, they want to play like this certain way. They want to get it through like Zaha or Ayew or something. But you completely disregard that and just try and play your way, even though you could have played a different way that would have been much more effective.
Yeah. No, it's some of these big teams do we're amazing at this, so we're going to stick with it. And I get playing to your strengths, but sometimes these smaller teams, their weaknesses are way weaker than your strengths are strong.
Yeah.
Simple as.
Yeah, definitely. Smaller teams are going to be more one-dimensional.
Mm-hmm.
Like they might do one thing really well, but then if you kind of stop that.
Sam, you can't expect a team that's built on 500 billion pounds to be versatile.
That's true.
And be good all around, You can't expect that.
I'm just curious what your stance is. If you were a manager, are you a manager who has your team kind of set up reactive based on your opponent, or are you going into every match with the same game plan?
Well, I don't know how you don't do a mix of both. I don't know how you're not pragmatic in your approach in terms of you go in with a plan, and if it's not working, then, you can try to change as much as you can before the half, and then at half, if you have to come out and kind of completely switch it up, you just, audible to that. But yeah, it's this one-dimensional mindset of you have to, like, why would you smash your head against a wall if you can take 4 steps around it and work a different way?
Especially if you're City and you can play different ways. You have the talent to play different
When
ways.
I don't notice Kevin De Bruyne out there for a little while, that's an issue.
Yeah.
He's got to be on the ball, facilitating it to these guys. You can't just have Jack Grealish be dribbling around in the corner. You can't just rely on these crazy individual runs from Gabby Jesus and stuff. And their subs, like, what did Mahrez do? What is Mahrez even doing these days? Nothing. He's going to be, like you're saying about guys who like go leave City and then they don't do anything. That's probably going to be Mahrez. Raheem Sterling, what a waste. Might as well leave Grealish on at that point. Like, I just don't. I unfortunately, City fans that are listening, as much as you spend on your team, I'm very upset at the fact that they are not better. If they were better, I'd be perfectly fine with it because I want to watch good Premier League football, and City are not playing that against these small teams.
Yeah. I think circling back to my question I asked you, I just wanted to give my input in case anyone was curious. We
got to move on.
My ideal way to set up the team would be, okay, you have this general structure of how you want to play, whether you want to be high possession or, quick attack, whatever. And then you say, okay, we're going to try our strategy, but we're going to make sure that we're focusing on what their main strength is and, being conscientious
Take away that.
of that and kind of adapting our system that we have and still mostly playing the same system, but keeping in mind that you got to deal with this certain area or whatever.
You would think so.
So, yeah.
You would think so. Let's move on to a big team that takes care of their weak opponents. As of now, it'll probably change as the year goes on because it always does with this team. We're, of course, talking about Chelsea going to St. James Park to play Newcastle. We got Darlow, Clark, Lascelles, Ritchie, Kraft, Manquillo, Hayden, Fraser, Longstaff, Wilson, and ASM. As far as Chelsea go, we got Mendy, Rudiger, Christensen, Silva, Jorginho, Conte, Chilwell, James, Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, and Havertz.
So a little bit.
Oh, Callum Wilson for Newcastle, too. I missed him.
A little bit of rotation. You got Ziyech in there.
Yeah, Hudson-Odoi and Ziyech. No, he hadn't really been starting the last couple weeks, but Loftus-Cheek on the bench as well. Mount was supposed to start this game, came down with an illness right before kickoff, like a day before kickoff or something, so he went back to London.
My one thing about this I will say about the Newcastle lineup, I just like when when like a caretaker manager or interim will come in, and a couple guys will pop back into the lineup that
Yes.
haven't played at all.
Frazier.
Yeah, like Frazier and
Hayden's kind of in and out already.
Emil
but
Kraft.
yeah, he's sometimes in there. It's
Yeah, he hadn't been for most of the season.
yes, true. This game in the first half was just Chelsea holding the ball and like giving it to Hudson-Odoi, and he didn't really do much with his dribbling. And then it was get it to Ziyech to see what he can do with his dribbling, and there was really nothing going on. Havertz was in like the most useless spots. They couldn't really find him.
Yeah,
And that was pretty much the half.
pretty ineffective. Just
It
going
was-
down the wings, but not able to connect centrally.
Yeah, I think the best chances of the first half were just some Ziyech long shots that
Yeah.
Darlow had easy
He had an
access to.
offside goal.
Yeah, I mean, that's,
But yeah, it was, I mean, not really that surprising. Chelsea, going to hold all the ball. And then Newcastle, under their Graham Jones.
Yeah, they've looked better defensively. I'll give them that. They're putting all their eggs in one basket, which is just play only defense. No attack whatsoever.
I feel like this one came down to more of the inefficiencies of Chelsea's offense in the first half. But
Yeah, but I mean, even then, I just
I just hate
defense is fine.
Newcastle playing Park the Bus.
I know, it's terrible. It's so bad. I'm sure Newcastle fans, they better be sad that Steve Bruce is gone. Yeah, I just thought Chelsea, they were inefficient. I just felt they weren't working it enough. They weren't getting in the right pockets of space. There weren't a ton there to begin with because Newcastle was doing all right. But like I said, Chelsea have the quality. They should be doing that.
They can
And that's
break
what they do
down
in the second
Newcastle.
half. 0-0 at half. They come out. Ziyech almost scores. Little post hit. Don't remember who it hit off of to hit the post.
Yeah.
But then the 65th minute, Hudson-Odoi finally making a run to where he gets in space. Crosses it all the way across. I can't say if it was Havertz. Someone went up for a header, and then Newcastle didn't really fully clear it out. Falls to James, gets it on his left. Then boom.
Yeah, great
Just a
strike.
rip. Upper 90, far post, nothing you can do. About 10 minutes later,
Groundhog's Day.
virtually the same exact thing, except it was crossed to James. He took a shot, it was blocked, passed around for a little bit, falls to James, another just rip. Carl Darlow was like laying on the ground because he dove at a previous shot.
Yeah, that was a little unlucky.
Yeah, and then the penalty, like 5 minutes later,
Yeah.
Jorginho steps up.
Clear penalty.
Yes. Yeah, there wasn't much besides the goals in this game, and I thought, Chelsea were a little fortunate to win this game 3-0.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was super
A-
reflective of how the
A
game went.
drubbing. I would say a 2-0, maybe even like a 1-0, but
Yeah.
no, I think this game is more about Newcastle and just you can sit there and play only defense, and you can even look good at it for a half. You don't have the quality to last 90 minutes playing this way.
Yeah, absolutely not. I mean, you're on a one-way street to relegation the way
Your
you're
best
playing.
your best thing is to get draws, and you're not even going to get draws against these big sides.
Yeah,
So you're going for less than a point per match. I just don't.
I feel like Newcastle, their strength is like chaos.
Yeah.
But
Very much like Burnley, except they might even have they might be a little more organized
Yeah.
chaos. Not quite full on. Burnley's the ultimate chaos.
yeah, Newcastle, it's just like, okay, well, you might not lose like 5-0, but you're not going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably not even going to draw. You might draw, but it's not going to be enough. You're not going to draw your next like 20 games.
Even then, if you did,
Yeah,
you're in 16th or 17th still. You're just holding on for life. You have to play to win. You cannot play to not to lose, and that's what Newcastle are doing. It's one thing if you're already out of the relegation zone, you have like 10 games left, and you're just like, I guess, holding on to hold on.
Yeah.
You're playing this Tony Pulis.
Yeah, what are you holding on to?
Yeah,
Your
you're in the relegation
status?
zone. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. You have to start going for it. And you have good attacking players. That's the thing with this team.
Yeah.
You have St. Maximin. There's like top sides in the Premier League that would die to have a guy like St. Maximin or even Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
Newcastle, you got to do better.
For sure. Yeah.
Moving on, next game
Watford.
at the Vic, Watford, Southampton. This was a boring game, I'll be quite frank.
Yeah.
Ben Foster, Ngakia, Trustek Kong, Messina, Cathcart, Sissoko, Sarr, Cucho, Kuchka, Josh King, Joao Pedro up front. For Southampton, Alex McCarthy, Kyle Walker-Peters, Livramento, Salisu, Bednarak, Romeu, Ward-Prowse, Redmond, El Nuesi, Armstrong, Che Adams. So they go back to what you would think is their best lineup, yet
Yeah.
is it their best lineup? Are we sure? No Broja?
Yeah. I felt that was pretty harsh to drop Broja.
Yeah. He's been looking pretty good. No Diallo. I don't know.
Yeah.
They get a win from this, so it doesn't matter, but
Watford,
I thought that was weird.
Their lineup, though, for me, very disappointing. That they
didn't
just go to
they
the
didn't stack
4-4-2.
They didn't stack the midfield. Well, Joao Pedro is kind of, I don't know if he was like a striker. I don't know what he was this game.
He's
kinda
not a
floating
midfielder.
around.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was my frustration. Like, yeah, he looked good, but that last game against Everton was more about Everton being non-existent in defense
Yeah.
rather than
Well, and that's the thing is,
Joao Pedro.
Joao Pedro, he had moments against Everton where he did stuff. I mean, everyone did stuff against Everton, but
Exactly.
I thought Dennis was better than him, so I was surprised they didn't go Emmanuel Dennis
Yeah.
in this game. But getting to the game, I think my hypothesis about Watford, you can tell in the first 30 seconds if it's there or not. I think it's back on track.
Yeah.
We just had a little speed bump. In like 30 seconds, Watford almost conceded.
Yeah, I mean, this one, it was kind of that standard Southampton. They have a decent start. They have a lot of the ball.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the standard Watford where they have none of the ball.
I think, before we go any further, I think any time going forward, Watford play a team that's like around their caliber, maybe slightly better, and they're possession-based, but they don't have necessarily luck like scoring and stuff, we should always pick them to win 1 or 2-0 against Watford.
Yeah.
Wolves, Southampton, I think I'm forgetting another team that did it, that just go into Vic and win, and it's like, well, I don't know if this team can do that. It's like, oh, they will, because Watford will let them do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's very little pressure on the ball.
Yeah.
Southampton,
There was so much space for Southampton.
there's no reason you should be allowing Southampton
know what to
be
do with it.
dominating you.
No. Yeah, a lot of possession and a whole lot of chances. We joked about it last pod about you can make up the top misses of the year. Just Southampton would make up
Yes.
9 of them.
Yes.
They had about 3 this game.
Yes, it's literally all them.
I don't know what it is.
It's like the Tour de France, you know. It's like, okay, if we take out all the cheaters, we got to go to like the 373rd guy. It's like if you take out all the Southampton misses, you're going pretty far down the list to find the next one.
Very true. They get one through Shea Adams. They were really working that left side. I don't know who Watford defender was on that right side. I'm totally blanking. But it was more that Walker-Peters side rather than the Livramento side, I felt like, for Southampton. It had to be Ngakia or it was Messina.
It was Messina, yeah, on the right side.
Okay. Yeah. But no, they were just given too much space, and it goes to show with the goal. Che Adams gets a pass. It wasn't even that great of a pass from Armstrong, but he has enough time to take a touch, turn from pretty much like his back to net to forward, and he gets a shot off.
Gotta say, that was
It was a great shot.
Greatly taken goal. I mean, the standing shot. Ooh.
I don't blame Ben Foster for that, but the defense,
saving
you
them.
have to get on him.
Yeah.
Like, where's the urgency?
Yeah, there's no reason he should have that much time.
No. No,
in
there
that
isn't.
position.
No, but good for Che Adams.
Yeah.
Maybe he kind of gets going here for Southampton. Watford break out, though, about 10 minutes later.
Yeah, this would have been a big one to get one back after being the worst team.
This ball from Ben Foster was mint.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, my goodness. The perfect ball, little backspin. Josh King, perfect long touch. Gets it to Sarr, far post. Sarr does a good shot. He gets it past the keep. Goal line clearance by Walker Peters.
Yeah, great effort by Walker Peters.
Yeah.
If Watford could do this more often, I mean, that'd be one thing.
Well, they did it against Villa.
Yeah.
And they've done it at times. I wouldn't say...
I'm saying more consistently throughout a game.
Yeah. No, for sure. Even just chances like this, you'd think. Because I do... And this is why you can't rule Watford out of staying up. I do like their quality in attack.
Yeah.
Because it shows they have good enough guys. It's not like they're hopeless, like some teams in attack, Norwich. When they are on the ball and around the box, I have a feeling that they're going to score at least. I'm like, oh, you never know.
Yeah. The problem being that they
don't get to the box.
Rarely are around the box.
Yes. And then the first miss, we had a couple in between this that I just glanced over. It was really Armstrong had...
Yeah.
I think one or two headers that he missed from pretty easy territory. But this Che Adams one was...
Yeah, 2 yards out on the diving header. Great ball
Right in the
across
ground.
from Armstrong. Somehow misses wide.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
I got to say, Adam Armstrong looked good, bar the misses.
Yeah, he was actually doing stuff.
He was very lively.
Yeah. You can't help but feel like Brozier maybe puts one of those away, though.
Yeah,
But you
true.
probably... I don't know if Brozier makes that pass.
Yeah.
We'll see. 1-0 at half, Southampton. I thought in the second half, the better chances came from Watford. Not really saying a ton because they weren't great, minus like 1 or 2, but
Yeah.
Southampton kind of just didn't do anything in the second half. I don't know what they were doing.
Yeah, kind of the creativity kind of dried up. I mean, they brought on Stuart Armstrong later on, but didn't really have too much going in terms of that.
Yeah, I mean, bringing on Armstrong for El Nuesi, it's kind of a like-for-like swap. Maybe El Nuesi can play a little wider and Armstrong's a little more central, and then they take off Ward-Prowse for Diallo. Kind of a like-for-like. If anything, maybe Diallo's a little more central too and a little more defensive.
Yeah, and not to mention the Watford, something that kind of changed it up. They brought on Cleverly and Ken Sema.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually was actually helpful, yes, having more midfielders when you don't have the ball very often. So then you can have the ball a little more often.
Yeah, I think, I'm not saying that, you're a genius or anything, but I think 4-5-1 for Watford is the best way to go about it. I would say, who would you say had the best game for Watford?
Best game for Watford.
You're looking at their subs.
Yeah, I am. Best game.
I've been shitting on this guy, and I think he actually had a half-decent game. It wasn't anything special, but he played a little better. I think Sissoko. Maybe under Ranieri, he can at least utilize him in a way. Because he did nothing under Chisco.
Yeah.
He was worthless out there.
I thought Messina going forward was actually looking pretty good, but...
That wasn't often enough for a defender.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finishes. Oh, we forgot to mention. Big save on Ashley Fletcher.
Yeah.
Alex McCarthy really took it personally.
I
don't know what his issue is.
He's been very good. I mean, I don't think
Who's telling
made
Alex
one error.
McCarthy about our podcast? Calling him out. Finishes 1-0. Southampton got a little streak going. Are you gaining a little more faith in their ability to stay up by each week, or are you thinking...
I like that their team seems to have options.
Yes.
They have some more players coming back from injury. I mean, you have Che Adams coming back into the lineup. I like that. Diallo, Brozier. If one guy's not working, you have a little more depth than you had, a month ago.
And that was the thing that I always thought with selling Ings. It's like, yes, you lose experience, yes, you lose quality. you're able to spend that money on younger players and a little more depth, and you can kind of mess around and see what happens with your team. Maybe you'll stumble upon someone that can give you, even if it's just a stretch of games that's good, it might be enough to keep you up. So good for them. As far as Watford going forward,
Please go back to the 4-5-1.
Yeah, you're going to have to talk with Claudio Ranieri.
I'll ring him up. Diddly ding, diddly dong.
I don't talk to him
Go
anymore
back
since
to
he
the
left
4-5-1.
Sampdoria. Let's go. Speaking of a guy who might be managing a team like Sampdoria or something in the future, we got Tottenham and Manchester United. Ole versus Nuno.
El Sacico.
Hugo Lloris, Christian Romero, Emerson Royale, Eric Dyer, Ben Davies, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Son Heung-min, Giovanni Lo Celso, Lucas Moura, Ollie Skip, Harry Kane. United, De Gea, Lindelof, Maguire, Varane, Fred, Fernandes, Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, McTominay, Ronaldo, Cavani. Let's start with it. The back three. What were your thoughts? A lot of memes made about this.
All right, so my thing with United, this lineup they put out, they're switching it up from the last game. They got to make some changes, going with the back three, of course, and then up front you have Ronaldo and Cavani. You know what I was thinking about this? I was thinking, it doesn't matter what your lineup is. You're playing Tottenham. Simple as. You might think, wow, look at this. There's great tactical changes. No, you're playing Tottenham. They suck. They're not gonna expose you the way Liverpool exposes you, and that's just a fact.
I'll say this: I think it makes more sense solely from the fact that Lindelof has been good, and if you're taking a spot away from, you're putting two in midfield and one less defender. But you're virtually keeping Wan-Bissaka and Shaw out there, just pushing them up. So, I mean, you can either have those guys back and have another guy forward, and that guy forward's going to be like, it's either going to be Fred, Matic, or McTominay, or, it just comes down to Lindelof's a better player than your other options.
Yeah.
So maximize your quality out there.
It does make sense. I mean, if you're going to have no midfield, you might as well have an extra center back.
Yeah, and even if you're going to have no midfield, just throw as many people in the midfield as you can, I guess, and hope something works.
And
play Tottenham.
Yeah, I would say, though, I mean, this game doesn't tell me anything, with this lineup.
Yeah.
I need to see them play a better team that can, show if this lineup is actually any better.
Yeah.
But
not to mention, I mean, Shaw and Bissaka, well, not really Wan-Bissaka as much, but Shaw loves to get forward now.
Yeah.
Having a little more support back there so he doesn't have to constantly be worrying about getting back has got to make it a little easier on him. But so we'll have to see a game other than this to see if it works, but I do think that makes more sense. All right. Let's get to it.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Starting off this game, Tottenham, they just kind of sit back and do their trademark Nuno Tottenham. Like, we're going to sit back and have Ollie Skip and Højbjerg in the midfield.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yes.
This game stunk.
Of course it did.
Sucked.
Any game with Tottenham is going to.
This game was so bad. I don't know. Last game against West Ham, it was not a terrible game to watch. But I just enjoy West Ham.
That was more because of West Ham.
Well, yeah, but that you didn't let me finish. I was going to say that's because I like West Ham. Yeah, no, this game was... I thought United were really sloppy in terms of passing.
Yeah, but it didn't matter.
I know, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, they didn't look very sharp. Bruno had the assist, but, I mean, I didn't think much of it. And he even wins the ball in another sequence. I don't know. It's hard for us to give credit to United when Tottenham looked so bad in this game. And what could have changed? Son with the chance.
Oh, man, great chance. I mean, when you're playing this system, you got to take any chance you get.
Yeah.
Hits it high.
That was...
You expect better out of him, I would say.
You need better out of him.
Yeah.
He's been no bueno. Same with Kane. Kane, you just
accept that he's dead.
When he has like a clear breakaway, and we'll get to this stuff later. We're probably just going to hop around during this game because there's just so much to talk about. But when he had that breakaway late in the game and he just gets chased down, it's like, when does that ever happen?
Yeah, you see him, he's in great space, and then
Doesn't
he just
even take a
slows
shot.
it down, waits for everyone to get back, and then plays this little cross that gets nowhere.
Yeah.
I mean, this game, to be fair, it was not really about the game itself.
Yeah, it was.
It's more about the
off-
state of the
the
teams.
circumstances.
Circumstances, the state of the teams, what has brought the teams to where they are now. And this is kind of like a display of the state of the teams. Like, yes, United, they're struggling, but they're not terrible. Tottenham are terrible.
Yeah.
Like, that's the fact of the matter.
Yeah, I mean, it's so strange because Tottenham had chances, but they're so shit they don't have anyone to score a goal unless it's like a one-off from Højbjerg or like Lucas Moura or something. It's just, it's not going to be Kane. It's not going to be Son. I don't know what it is. And then Romero had a chance to score that back post flick on, but he was off.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt like United were sleepwalking through this game too. They didn't really have anything going. And then the first goal from Ronaldo, it was more just like you're saying about Tottenham. Like Ben Davies had no chance of stopping Ronaldo. The thing with this game is that it didn't matter with tactics or even the state of the club. What we really should have looked at is who's the best guy out there. It's Ronaldo. And we should have just known that he would be able to carry them to a win.
Yeah.
Simple
I mean,
as.
this is
He can
just-
will them to a win.
Yeah, this is one of those games where it's like, oh, guarantee Ronaldo's going to score in this one. I
Yeah.
mean, coming out off of that loss and then the way they were playing, you need that like high level of individual skill to get you a goal when you're kind of dragging.
Yeah. And I'm going to say something crazy here real quick.
Yes.
I didn't think it was that great of a goal.
No.
He does that all the time. People were like losing their minds over it. He does that all the time in the Champions League.
Yeah, it wasn't like
For
the
Juventus
most
and Madrid.
insane goal. Yeah.
Yeah. It was the one.
It was no
really,
Goddess.
It was really the one good play from Bruno in this game. So it goes in 1-0. It's just this whole game. I don't think anyone for Tottenham, maybe besides Romero, and even he got caught out on the second goal, was above a 5.
No, there's no way. I mean, not to mention, why is Ben Davies playing? Very confusing.
He should
on
be
that
on.
one. Swansea.
Come back, send him back to where he came from. No, but literally, he should be on like a low Premier League side as like a guy who gets rotated. And why is he on this team?
Yeah.
You don't even play Doherty. What are you doing, Tottenham?
Doherty's like,
I don't think he's good or anything, but why is he on the team? They have so many guys. It's like, why are you not selling these guys for whatever you can get?
can't even get a game under Nuno. I mean, that's rough.
What was the next one? Oh, it was the
Ronaldo.
Yeah. Højbjerg with just a horrible pass. He was off today to Ollie Skip, who had just a god-awful touch.
Yeah.
It was a bad pass, but that touch, it like went up to his chest for no reason.
So
Bruno
bad.
wins it over to Ronaldo. Ronaldo plays Cavani through. They had 2 defenders back, and Cavani's in on a through ball for a goal. The third
So
one.
easy. Why is there so much space in between the center backs?
The third one was ridiculous. Rashford had there was like probably a 5 to 10 yard gap between, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
Emerson Royale and Romero got swapped, so Romero's out wide. So it was Emerson Royale was central with Dyer. And there's just like a 10 yard gap.
Yeah.
And Rashford standing right there and just runs straight through it.
It was embarrassing to watch how easily it was. Just,
Did you hear the fans at about like I don't know if it was late first half or early second half, but
they
did
were
you
not
hear?
happy.
They're chanting, "You don't even know how to play."
Yeah, that's true. At least they're self-aware.
Yeah, so it finishes 3-0. I think, can you go back to lineups?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I was just trying to think. Emerson Royale is the worst player I've ever seen in my life.
I don't get why people are rating him. I mean, he's
not
good.
There's so much. It's this thing about Barca's academy where people act like it's amazing. It's like, who has it produced in the last 5-10 years?
Yeah.
Like a couple of guys, one or two. Yeah, I went on the World Football Reference after this game and just looked up because I was curious. The guy who led in shot-creating actions for Tottenham, and I wouldn't believe it because I think he touched the ball twice, was Lo Celso.
I don't even
And it was
remember
2.
seeing him in that game.
He had 2. This team was just a dead man walking. Nuno had no chance. He had no chance. This team has no quality. Their subs, Dele Alli and Dombele, who's been better lately, but it's like, why is he on the bench if he's been better lately?
Yeah.
Steven Bergwijn, I mean, good luck keeping him healthy. Nuno had no chance. Simple as. No one wanted to play for him. He was put in a tough spot. I don't necessarily feel bad for him, but I don't know. I feel a little bad for him, I guess.
It just seemed like the second he was hired, you knew it was going to go bad. I mean, he was like the 7th choice
Well, should
manager.
we just talk about Conte now?
He's just set up to fail.
I mean, Conte is able to get these teams to play so well domestically, better than they normally do. With this, I don't know what that is for Tottenham, 6th or 5th at best, but he doesn't do anything in Europe. This is going to end with Conte in maybe a year and a half just being like, Daniel Levy won't spend money. Because that's what he does to boards that even spend money. He said Chelsea won't spend money. He said that Inter won't spend money. What's he going to say when Daniel Levy doesn't spend? Obviously, he's not going to spend money for
I
him.
wouldn't be surprised if he gets to a year and a half, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Daniel Levy. I wouldn't last a day with this guy.
It's terrible. I don't know. They're going to have to sell. I mean, it felt like Mourinho was the last straw, a kind of grasping for something to keep them as a top-tier English team for a while, this Tottenham side. But then that went by the wayside, and then they still tried to go with it with Nuno, and it's like, this isn't going to work. Now they have Conte again. So they're pretty much on their last straw 3 times. Why are you not... I get that there's not a ton of people out there mid-season, but why are you doing this?
Did you see the thing where it said Tottenham have signed 3 managers to manage until 2023? Pochettino, Mourinho, and
Conte? Did he go that long? Or Nuno?
Nuno and Conte. 4? 3? 4?
That's before.
Something like that, but it's just showing how bad Tottenham have
How
been
was
in
Nuno
trying to
not on
figure
just
this
a
out.
1-year deal? What's the
He might have
incentive?
been.
What's the incentive? Well, you're saying he's through 2023 is clearly a couple of years. What's the incentive of that? What, he does good and someone steals him from you? No. No, he maybe keeps your team around Europa League. I don't know.
I think he was just destined to fail from the start.
Yeah.
I think it's simple as that.
It was rough. One last thing. If Tottenham had a brain, which they don't, how are they not just how would you not just give Conte his little run here if it doesn't do anything? Sack him. You immediately sell as many guys as you can,
Yeah.
and you bring in Graham Potter.
Yeah, for sure.
How are you not doing that?
I think Graham Potter would have been a much better hire. I mean,
There's a lot. Well, that's the thing is it's mid-season, so you
Yeah.
can't really. That's why I'm saying maybe you go interim, but this is their last straw for Tottenham. Oh, wait, it's the 3rd time they've done this. They've had an experienced manager come in.
Yeah.
I don't like what they're doing. You might as well have just stuck with Ryan Mason, for God's sakes. This is just so bad. This club is just such a joke.
I mean, it should have been obvious. Daniel Levy is going to run the club to be kind of very low budget. So in the offseason, you should have been like, okay, Graham Potter, we're going to sign you. He's got experience working under a tight budget,
Yeah.
overperforming. He would suit this squad perfectly. I think he could get a lot out of the squad. Instead, now you're hiring Conte, which is like a match made in disaster, pretty much.
Yeah.
And is only going to end in one way.
Yeah,
like
we
you
talked
said,
about it.
Conte
Leaving.
not getting any money.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then one final point on Nuno. I think he was destined to fail, but still, it was absolute dire football that he was playing.
He was playing some not even shithouse football. It was a shame. Moving on to more shithouse football in Norwich City versus Leeds. We got Tim Krul, Max Sarins, Grant Hanley, Kabak. Oh gosh, the Irish guy. What's his name?
Oma Bamadele.
Yeah, no, we don't talk about him. He scores.
Bamadele.
Dowell, Norman, Rashica, McLean, Pookie, Sargent. Leeds, we got Melier, Cooper, Llorente, Stroik, Dallas, Rodrigo, Phillips, Shackleton, Rafinha, Dan James, Jack Harrison. We talked about Leeds last time. We're like, oh, do they maybe stick with the youth? They don't. But that's only because they finally get their good guys back, or a few of them. Phillips and Rafinha back in there. Massive for Leeds. With that said, they didn't look that fantastic this game.
No.
But they haven't really been playing with their top guys for a while because they've been hurt. So, maybe Norwich is a little recipe they needed.
Yeah, a little easy game at Norwich. I mean, it was harder than it should have been.
Which it didn't turn out to be. Norwich gave them all they could handle.
Yeah.
What stood out to you in the first half?
Yeah, so starting off the game, handball, shout on Dan James, not given, but Dan James has a shot cleared off the line in the 8th minute. And then Norwich, I mean, honestly, Norwich looked probably the best they've looked all season in this game.
Yes.
First half. They're actually working the ball, creating some chances. Timo Pukki has a great shot, go just wide.
Yeah, I'd say that Leeds defensively in midfield were not all that sharp, to say the least.
And on the other hand, I thought your guy, Norman, was having a very nice game. He had some
stuff going, yeah. His passing, he doesn't make passes he should, and then he makes passes that he shouldn't. In terms of, he'll just have a great pass, and you're like, what is that? And then a pass he's supposed to make, he just doesn't. You're like, wow, nice. Yeah. No, he has moments. I wouldn't be surprised if he's on... He could either be a really good championship player or maybe he's sold or loaned to a team that's in the Premier League next year, but they're kind of a lower team.
Yeah.
Maybe he's on Watford or something if they stayed up
or something.
Exactly, same thing. No, Pukki with his chances, but Josh Sargent, nothing. What I was thinking is, I know he was hurt for a little while, but he's back now. Where's Todd Cantwell?
Dude, Todd Cantwell, he's been exiled. Yeah, he definitely has. You can tell.
Why?
Daniel Farke, it feels like he's kind of on a little power trip, to be honest. I mean, Todd Cantwell is your best player, and he's played 10 minutes this whole season.
Yeah.
Injury or not, you can tell he's not a happy player. He looks very frustrated.
Just sell him. Sell him for 10 to 20 mil.
Yeah.
Whatever. Get him out.
I mean, the state of Norwich, honestly, you've been one of the worst teams ever, and your best player is sitting on the bench because you're, too big for your britches, Daniel Farke.
Yeah. Who would you like to see Cantwell on real quick?
Cantwell. I mean, Everton, maybe? He seems kind of destined for everything.
Really? I was thinking someone a little lower. I was thinking Palace if they can't get Gallagher back or something.
Dollar store Gallagher.
Yeah, they're he looks the same. Yeah, I would say the biggest chance for Norwich, and they kind of held their possession, but they didn't do a ton with it. It was that Norman chance right before half. Goes in 0-0, but then Leeds come out. They were really able to hit on the long ball this game, I thought. They weren't able to do a ton with it in the early second half, but eventually broke through. Especially Dan James was getting on the end of it, but it was just him up. So it's kind of tough spot for him.
It seemed like Leeds' game plan this game was okay, we're going to get it to Rafinha or Dan James and then hope they do something.
Magic. It's magic.
And I guess it worked. I mean, Rafinha, he scored.
Yeah, Dan James gets the assist there. Nice to see him. He's got to get something going there. Got to get something going. It was a big investment by Leeds. He's still a good player. We like him.
I feel like it's just been kind of a tough season to come into for Dan James. I mean, Leeds have really been struggling, and then you come into that team as a new player. I don't really blame him. I mean, I feel like he still can be good.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to talk myself into Leeds finishing like 13th or 12th, just lower than what we thought, because they'll get Bamford back, and eventually Bamford will at least get him like 7 to 12 when he gets back. Who knows when that is, but
I think they'll finish more like in the 15th range.
really,
Yeah.
I think that they'll bounce back enough if they stay healthy. If they can't manage to stay healthy, which they haven't,
Yeah.
then yeah, I think that they're going to be in the relegation fight. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But then right off that, Norwich go down, get a corner, and your guy,
Obama Dele. It's simple, Hank. Come on. Obama Dele.
I say Obama Dele,
Obama Deli.
gets
your
the header.
turkey.
Nice header.
Little Black Forest ham.
Nice header. From him off the corner, far post, bar down. But then Leeds come right back. And the best play by Rodrigo, perhaps ever since. I mean, maybe he's just coming on. Maybe that pen is all he needed to spark him.
Yeah, maybe.
But nice shot by him.
Yeah, he just kind of walks up, hits it.
I mean, Kroll
Clean.
could have easily saved it.
Yeah,
but
it really should have been saved. But, you can't score if you don't buy the ticket to the show.
Exactly.
Or something like that.
As the game went on, Leeds really didn't do much to impress me. But then Norwich kind of felt forced to, kind of hold the ball and weren't able to do anything. Finishes 2-1. I called this as 2-1, which doesn't make up for the fact I thought Tottenham would win. But this game went exactly how I envisioned it. It's just like Norwich's defense is just Swiss cheese out there for these teams to get in behind if they're going to play that way.
Yeah.
And it's not even good enough to withstand the pressure to where if you're going Man City mode, you're just going to be able to walk through them. Norwich all but confirmed to go down at this point. Anything to build off of for Leeds? Maybe Rafinha, playing well, got it done. Phillips didn't look all too spectacular, in my opinion.
You got 3 points, I guess. But, it's a process.
Yeah. Just get your guys back, Leeds.
Speaking of walking through defenses, we got Aston Villa versus West Ham United. Declare it and blue derby.
Rough. Martinez, Cash, Target, Konsa, House, McGinn, Marvelous, Ramsey, Buendia, Watkins, Leon Bailey. So 4-3-3, a little change up there from Dean Smith. He kind of notices something's not really going right with his defense.
And no Mings.
True. West Ham, you already know their lineup. Fabianski, Cresswell, Zuma, Gbana, Johnson, Fornals, Bowen, Benrahma, Soucek, Rice, Antonio. This one, it was kind of strange because West Ham were holding the ball, but they weren't doing a ton with it early on. And then they're able to get this Ben Johnson goal that really came out of nothing.
Yeah, and it was one of those goals. It's like, how did that get through? Like, I feel like someone should have blocked that somewhere along the line.
Yeah, no, it goes all the way through far post. Ben Johnson looking
Ben
fantastic.
Johnson,
He's
absolutely on one.
fantastic
What a
out
lad.
here. I want to say there was another chance for... No, it was Villa who had that corner. It fell to Bailey far post. Good save by Fabianski early on. So Villa was hanging around. And then 34th minute, Watkins, after a nice worked set of spell of possession, Buendia. I thought that... who was that on West Ham? Fornals. Fornals had the angle to cut him off and just let Buendia get the edge. I don't know what that was about. And then it's like Rice kind of had to shift a little bit closer to the ball, opens it up. Watkins for the goal.
Yeah. Then shortly after, another one, it's almost like deja vu from the first goal, where it's like,
Just a long
how
shot.
did this go in from kind of the same angle too?
It's a seeing eye goal.
I mean, at that point, that's pretty frustrating for Villa because you're like, man, we've conceded 2 goals that we really shouldn't have.
Yeah, the announcer for one of them, I think it was the Declan Rice goal, the second one, was like, oh, and Martinez is claiming he didn't see it. It's like, no, he didn't, because there's like 6 guys in front of him. It's like a low strike on the ground. Of course he didn't see it. What do you mean? Acting like he saw it.
Yeah, I feel like that more comes down to like individual efforts to
Close out on
try
people.
and close out and get a block on the ball. Just throw your body at it.
No.
At some point.
2-1 going into half in favor of West Ham. And then it gets a little dicey for Villa.
Yeah, this pretty much just seals off the game for Villa. I mean, Konsa sent off.
They're reviewing another foul.
Goal scoring. Yeah, right. They were reviewing the foul before. Courtney House could have got sent off. I mean, the elbow to the head. That was potentially red card worthy.
This
in
game
itself.
was super chippy for like no reason. I did not come into this week thinking this would be a chippy game. Yet it was.
But anyways, they go with the safer red card and say, oh, Konsa, deny a clear goal scoring opportunity, and you're sent off.
There's another one. Just more proof that everything goes against Arsenal.
True, but you know what? Still got the dub. Massive dub.
Watkins, they still go down 10 men, hit the post.
Yeah, they looked decent. I mean, shortly after the red card, they looked like they were still, trying to get something out of the game. But, I mean, you can only do so much if you don't score. You're going to start to get pushed back, especially by a team like West Ham.
Yeah, and it's kind of tough because you go into, if you're Dean Smith, you go in, you make your changes before this game, and you're like, all right, let's see how it goes. 50th minute red card. That throws a monkey wrench just right in the middle of your plans. You don't know exactly how, maybe Villa come back to win 3-2. You never know because they looked fine in attack. But we'll never know.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting to see if Dean Smith sticks with this or kind of alters it back to the original formation. We'll have to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so West Ham pick up a pair of goals in the 80th and 84th minute. Fornals, first
just kind
one.
of counterattack goals. What can you say? Villa were pressed to kind of push up. Not really, they just kind of had to contain, and they weren't able to. I don't know if you saw on the first one, the header by Mikel Antonio in midfield, and Matty Target just went up with him and just dragged him down from midair. Yeah, that was crazy. So it's Bowen to Fornals on the first one. Second one was Lanzini to Bowen. 4-1. I don't know if 4-1 was a fair scoreline for Villa, but West Ham easily deserved the win, especially after the red.
I feel like it kind of more shows the state of what Villa are right now.
I think
they've really been struggling.
I picked their run of bad form too soon. I said it a while before then, and they were playing well to prove me wrong. And now they've kind of come back down to earth a bit.
I mean, I respect the decision to go with the 4-3-3, but
just to change it up because it wasn't working before with your defense, but now, I mean,
my
who
issue
knows?
being the one who you sacrifice being Mings.
Yeah.
I feel like if he's fit, you got to play him. Your defense is better with him in than without it.
Yeah, Mings and Ings. I still love Danny Ings on this side going forward. Provides something different, but 4-1 West Ham. They just keep trucking.
Keep winning games, acquiring points.
Just hang around fourth. Just hang around 4, 5, 6. That's all you got to do.
See if they can keep it up going into the holiday time period where there's going to be more games in shorter amount of time. They might have to switch up the lineup a little more than they're comfortable with.
But they have that experience with the Europa League stuff, playing that. So hopefully they'll get some guys in there that we haven't seen. Moving on, last game of the week. Wolves, Everton.
The one you've all been waiting for. Yes.
Sa, Cody, Kilman, Saiss, Ait-Nouri, Neves, Semedo, Montinho, Jimenez, Trincao, Chan. So Neves obviously getting back in there after being out last week. As far as Everton are concerned, Pickford, Holgate, Keane, Godfrey, Coleman, Alan, Townsend, Iwobi, the guy they got from Mainz a while back.
Gabamine.
He's a meme. All right. Richarlison and Damari Gray.
I was a little surprised to see Trincao back in the starting lineup.
I was too. He's looked a little rough.
Yeah.
And he looked rough this game.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Getting to the game, Wolves were piling it on early, taking it to Everton.
Unsurprisingly.
Yes. It was relentless. I don't know if they really... I guess it wasn't really a goal line clearance. It was just a save from Pickford on Neves.
Yeah.
And then he had another one on your guy Trincao.
Yeah, Pickford was looking pretty good.
He was the only thing keeping him alive. He's trying to go Ramsdale for his club out there.
Then you realize it's Everton, and there's no keeper in the
Yes.
world that could save Everton.
And then Wolves doing what Wolves do. They look fantastic, and you think they've scored, but the ultimate rug pull, they have not scored.
Of course, when I put Hwang Hee-chan into my fantasy team, he scores, but then it's ruled offside.
Jimenez, great run, great layoff. Chan, the shot that goes in, ruled offside. But Wolves finally score. 28th minute, Max Kilman, off the corner. There's like 4 Everton guys on him. I don't know how no one got to that before him, but good header. Not much Pickford could do on that one. And then the back pass in the 32nd minute from Godfrey. Everton. You make it hard on yourself.
So painful.
But a great chip from Jimenez.
It was very nice, yeah. First goal at the Molyneux for 13 months, I think.
Yes. So they go in, half, 2-0. Right before half, they had a chance. Damari Gray had one. It was like hoofed forward, and it looked like nothing, and then Saiss like fanned on the ball, and Damari Gray had a breakaway.
Yeah.
And it was just a terrible shot.
Mm-hmm.
2-0 at half. And then Wolves decide to let Everton back in the game.
Yeah, for some reason.
Jose Sa's like, Richarlison, yo, let me pass this ball to you. Just directly to you.
Just Jose saw things right there.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean...
Him and Cody do enough just to clear it, but what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, like, Saw, at times, it's like, wow, he looks pretty decent. And then he does stuff like this.
It's the... I hate to make a non-Premier League reference, but it's the Roman Burki thing. It's like he'll make saves that he shouldn't, and then he doesn't make saves or does stupid stuff.
Yeah.
When it's like, why did you do that? Yeah, and then Jimenez with the post shot off the header. Well worked.
Yeah, he's been looking good. Looked great in this game as well.
Yep. And then Everton go down. Was it a long throw or a corner that kind of set this up? And then
I feel like it was a long throw.
Bounced out of the box. They kind of worked it around. Nice little passing sequence. Falls to Sam's guy. Says he does nothing. Alex Iwobi. That's what you pay $40 million for. Gets a goal. I don't know what Wolves' defense was on that because Cody and Saiss went to whoever's holding the ball up. Or like whoever was kind of near the block shot, that went back to Iwobi. And then there's no midfield guy around the edge of the box.
Yeah.
So Iwobi was wide open to take a shot. I don't know what that defending was.
Yeah, should not be wide open in that kind of position. But anyways, he scored. And, Everton...
They have a chance.
They have a chance.
But they did nothing with anything after that.
Yeah, it was pretty disappointing. I mean, you were lucky to get that goal and then kind of have a chance at the game, but then you do nothing with it. But overall, this game, another win for Wolves. They're
streaking,
rattling off the dubs and good points. First half for Everton, just absolutely abysmal. I mean, you look at the midfield, you switch it up, you put Gabamine in there with Alan. That guy was hot trash and did absolutely nothing. Was kind of the same issue as Tom Davies, no one is organized in midfield, and then you just get overran.
Everton, don't take this personally, but I'm sick of your best player being Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, true. Why did he not start?
He looked fine. He was out there. He was kind of doing some stuff. He had a header that went just wide. I don't know.
And something I noticed, when they took off Gabamine at the half, they brought on Fabian Delph. I'm thinking,
Yes.
why
I
isn't
thought that
Fabian
too.
Delph starting? He's better than any of these scrubs that they're playing. I mean,
Fabian Delph is washed.
look, I get it. Fabian Delph is bad, but Everton is worse. Fabian Delph should be starting.
Just put Anthony Gordon on there. Who cares? Why is Solomon Rondon coming on?
Fabian Delph looked so much better than anything that they've
Did
had.
you know who was on the bench for this game?
For Everton?
Yeah. I'll wait till you see the name.
Cenk Tosin? Wait, he's still on Everton?
I didn't know that until now.
Well, he's got to be playing more than Solomon Rondon. I mean, come on, Jesus.
Oh my, horrible. Yeah, I guess a good win for Wolves. Not really, but it's something. All I'll say, do you know where Wolves are in the table without looking?
Wolves, I want to say they're probably like 9th.
They're 7th.
Okay.
1 point behind Arsenal and United. Tied on points with Brighton. A point ahead of Tottenham.
Yeah, it just goes to show. I mean, you put together a nice run and you're right up in there.
Do you know where Southampton is?
They got to be around 12th probably.
Oh, okay. No, they're 14th.
Okay.
But they've been... I just say that just because I didn't think they'd be that high.
Yeah.
I mean, you string together a few wins. It's crazy what happens. Time for Team of the Week before we get to the predictions.
Yes.
Ramsdale. I wanted to put McCarthy I wanted to say
Jesus
that just
Christ,
as a
you
joke.
would trigger me so
That
hard.
would have been so funny. I should have done it.
End of the podcast, I slammed the microphone over your head.
Defense. Lowton, Gabrielle, Joachim Anderson, Ben Johnson. Midfield, Gallagher, Rice, McNeil, Trossard. Up front, CR7 and Raul. Wasn't the strongest 11 this week, but
Nice variety in there.
yeah, they looked all those guys looked fantastic.
Yeah. So, coming up.
Friday.
Tomorrow, Friday, we got a Friday matinee game. We got Southampton versus Aston Villa.
This one's at Southampton. I don't know. It's these one-off weird Southampton games where sometimes they just get bombed.
Is Southampton, are they in good enough form to capitalize on Aston Villa's weaknesses?
I think it's less that Southampton are in better form and more so Villa are really looking... I think Villa's form is worse than Southampton's is better.
Yeah.
I want to see if Southampton maybe rotates again on a shorter week. Maybe they bring in Broja. Maybe they bring in Diallo. Or maybe even Stu Armstrong gets a start. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
It'd definitely be interesting to see with Villa's leaky defense what they are planning to do. If they stick with the 4-3-3 or go with something else. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw on this one.
Yeah, I was thinking draw as well. I was thinking 2-2.
Okay.
Although, I really do like Southampton's defense.
No,
They
is
have
good.
been very solid, actually.
Salisu and Bednarak as a center back pairing are good, especially Salisu.
Yeah. And then
And
you
I
got
like their wide
Livramento.
defenders with Livramento, Walker Peters, and Perot's had his moments too.
Yeah.
And it's something when Southampton actually has a goalie you can semi-rely on. That's better than a cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
No, I'm perfectly fine with
Yeah.
Southampton, but I will stick with the 1-1 draw.
I'm thinking 2-2.
All right.
Yeah.
Here
who
comes the
knows?
big one. United and City.
Yeah, this will be the game that Ole gets the sack. Although now Conte is off the market, so
Grant Potter.
Grant Potter at United.
No,
Moyes?
No Eddie Howe.
Moyes
get to
is?
that. Yes, Moyes. Maybe Gary Neville
Oh, please.
from Valencia for a month to United. Talking about failing upwards.
Isn't
Ronald
that Phil
Koeman.
Neville?
Or I thought they're both there. Maybe it was Phil Neville was the official manager,
been.
and then Gary was like an
Yeah.
assistant. But
Phil's at Inter Miami.
yeah, bring him back.
Bring him back.
United, City, at Old Trafford. It's very unfortunate for United that City had to win last week. Or lose, rather.
Yeah.
So now they're going to have even more motivation if they didn't enough already. 3-5-2 again, I would assume. If they go back to the back four, rest in peace.
I mean, the thing is, though, the teams that have exposed United have been playing pretty fast on the break. That's not really what City does.
do. And especially if you have 3 center backs at the back, as long as Slabby's got his head on. Varane actually looked pretty decent against Tottenham. Didn't have to do much, but he looked half decent. And Lindelof this year, he's been in good form.
Varane being out for another month, though. Picked up another injury.
Yeah.
So a
I don't
loss
know.
in that regard.
They might just go back to the back four.
They might have to. They might be forced into that. But I think City will win, but I don't think it will be quite the onslaught that
Maybe
some
United
people
throws
may
out a
think.
wild card.
They
They haven't had one of those where they just pull a random youth guy out of nowhere and he scores.
Yes.
They haven't had one of that in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe they pull that.
Yeah.
That's what they channel. I'm gonna go City 2-1,
I was going to say 2-1 City as well.
but I wouldn't be shocked if United won.
Yeah, I mean, City are nothing to write home about right now, I would say.
Who are they? Are they rotating Ake in?
Oh, God, I hope not. I mean, for entertainment value, that sounds
But who's in?
fantastic.
Because Laporte has a red.
It's got to be Stones, right?
He's looked trash.
It
You're
could
probably
be
right.
Ake.
You're probably right. Well, I mean, I'm just wondering that because Ake was in earlier this year.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're right.
but maybe because Ake did nothing with his chance earlier, they just go to Stones. Brentford, Norwich. What are we looking for in this game?
I want to see a bounce back for Brentford.
They've still had good performance. Well, I don't know if you put last week as a good performance. It had moments. The weeks before that were good performances.
Yeah.
Against, Chelsea and whatnot. But
I'd like to see that last week's performance was a one-off
hopefully.
and not
Hopefully.
a trend.
Well,
I'm going to say 2-0 Brentford.
2-0 Brentford. Yeah, I don't know, because Norwich sometimes will hit on the counter. They don't actually score, but they hit on it. They go for it.
Yeah.
I'll go. I picked Norwich to score last week. We'll just go with the safe Brentford 2-0. Moving on, Chelsea at home against Burnley, the streaking Burnley.
Is this the game where Burnley
slip?
beats Chelsea?
No, I don't think so. Only because Burnley used up their one.
Yeah, true.
They used up that win. In this game, I think I might be watching for Burnley's long balls. They could maybe catch Chelsea out. I wouldn't expect it because Chelsea are always so sound defensively. But there is talk of Chelsea. They're pundits being like, are they gonna concede the least amount of goals? And it's like when stuff like that gets start thrown around.
Yeah, just wait.
That's when a Burnley will drop 3 goals on your head for no reason. I'm gonna go. Burnley's defense looked good last week. I'll go 2-1 Chelsea.
I'm going to say 3-2 Chelsea.
3-2.
I think we're going to get a little Cornier brace action.
I don't know. Chelsea's attack, we'll have to see. Maybe they rotate some guys in. Hopefully no Loftus-Cheek. Palace Wolves at Selhurst.
I like this matchup
It's going to be, you like it for one reason only.
because it'll be an entertaining game.
Yes. No, I was thinking because that's Selhurst.
Oh, yes, that too.
No, yeah, this game will be interesting. I want to watch. Obviously, Palace have a great midfield, and then Wolves with their dynamic duo of Neves and Moutinho haven't been as hot as they were early on.
Yeah.
But still a formidable foe, as some say, nonetheless. And then as far as Wolves kind of looking sloppy defensively, maybe Palace able to capitalize on that.
Yeah, maybe Palace come in, pressing again.
Wolves' attack has looked pretty decent at times, yet Palace last week stepped it up, especially their central defenders. So
Yeah, it'll be
I don't have a great feel for this game.
I know.
I like both these teams. I think that's why I don't have a great feel for it.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I feel
I
like
could
this
easily
is a
see it
really
going
hard one to call.
2-0 to either side.
Yeah, it's pretty level, I would say. I'm going to say 2-1 Palace.
Okay. Brighton and Newcastle, somehow the premier game Saturday. Who scheduled this? Someone thought Steve Bruce would still be along, I guess.
Yeah,
it would be a
true.
much better game if Bruce was here.
Yeah, it would be, honestly. Now it'll just be Brighton
Passing the
having
ball.
all the ball.
I really hope in this game Brighton just don't get conservative and try and like walk the ball into the net.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
I don't want that, because if that's the case, I might have to go 0-0.
I was thinking the same thing, 0-0.
I'm going 1-0 Brighton only because I want something good.
I'm going to say 0-0. I think Newcastle will sit back and get a point.
Moving on to Sunday. I don't know, I have so many Sunday games. That upsets me. Arsenal Watford at the Emirates. Can Arsenal keep it going against Watford?
You would hope so.
What are you looking for in this game as an Arsenal supporter?
I think you just, you want to keep the good form rolling. You don't want to have one of these games where you slip up to a team like Watford. I mean, it happens to everyone, but you're hoping it doesn't happen to you.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at something in this game, I don't know how Arsenal are going to be able to, because they're not really like on the counter when they're scoring these goals lately, but they're faster build-up play. I think they're going to be potentially, if Arteta wants to, they can do the horseshoe, and that's my worst concern for them.
Yeah, that is concerning.
They get in their own heads about this, and then they let Watford counter.
Yeah.
But then it's like maybe Arteta's thinking, we can't do that. We have to just keep the way we're playing. But Watford just can't ever hold possession, really.
Yeah.
That's the only problem. And then, like you're saying earlier, 4-5-1 for Watford. I need to see that 5 in midfield.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Smith Rowe is going to be running wild all over you, Watford.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with a 2-0 Arsenal victory.
I'm going to say 1-0 Arsenal.
Everton, Tottenham.
Wow.
Oh, I got to mention this real quick because Newcastle already went. They hired Eddie Howe. Initial thoughts on this. I don't think he'll be managing this week, but they got their typical 4-4-2. I think it gives them somewhat of a chance if he's going Wilson and St. Maximin up front.
He knows Wilson.
He knows Richie.
He knows Richie. Yeah, a lot of guys actually came from Bournemouth, but I mean,
I like
if there
that
was
hire for
one
them.
guy who was going to keep him up this season, I think Eddie Howe could do it.
Yeah.
But I still would probably bet on them going down, honestly.
I think anything's got to be better than Graham Jones.
Well, yes. I can't argue with that.
Yes. Back to Everton, Tottenham. Conte will be there. Conte versus Rafa at Goodison. What are we thinking here?
I feel like it's too soon for the new manager bump. But it could happen, I suppose.
I mean, they won today in their
I feel like Kane's
Conference League. Or
deadness can overpower any
That's what I was
going to
ask you.
boost.
What is Kane's deadness or Everton's shite defending?
Everton are really bad, but so are Tottenham.
God, and Michael Keane had a pretty decent game against Wolves, but it's just like one or two times where he slips up and then the whole thing goes to shit, and it's kind of unfortunate for him.
Yeah.
Because he plays well for most of the
You know who I feel bad for in Everton's defense?
Who?
Seamus Coleman. Man, that guy's a trooper battling it out.
Well, when you go from pushing for Champions League spots to whatever the hell they are now, you feel bad for
He's
them,
seen
man.
it all.
Yes. I want to see if there's any remote way that that Conte can at least get Son going.
Yeah.
That has to happen. You need your elite guys to be elite. I don't know. I'm struggling to feel this one out. I'm going to go with a 2-1 Tottenham.
I'm going to say 2-0 Tottenham.
Leeds, Leicester, at Elland Road.
I think this will be a tough one for Leeds.
I do too. I think it's going to be probably 3-1 or 3-0.
Yeah, I like 3-0. Leeds it's been a tough season. I don't think it's going to get any better in this one.
Cooper just like has his head up his ass just for extended periods of time, I feel like. Like the goal they conceded against Norwich, he's like marking them, and he just kind of peels off, and then like Llorente has to kind of sprint for him to get him. Like I don't know what they're doing.
He's the kind of guy that you can get away with when you have better players around him, but when he gets more exposed like the way he has been this season, it's like,
It's
okay,
rough.
you're really seeing...
Yeah. I would like a Jamie Vardy brace, potentially hat-trick. We need to see a little Jamie Vardy action.
I'm going to say that Patson Daka scores in this one.
Oh, boy. West Ham, Liverpool. No Naby Keita for this one, as far as I know.
Yeah, let's see what West Ham have to offer Liverpool.
West Ham's defense right now is looking pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I want to see if they're able to hold up against Liverpool because I don't know if guys like Ogbonna and Zuma are the best in terms of stopping guys like Salah because they're so quick.
Yeah.
But they are bruiser center backs. They are punishing guys. If there's a lot of contact and stuff, it might wear down on some of these Liverpool guys. But if it's not a more physical game, it's a finesse game, I back Liverpool. I'm going to go with a 3-2 Liverpool victory.
Yeah, I like the matchup from a West Ham perspective. I feel like you can play quick and potentially beat Liverpool on the counter, catch them exposed with the weaker midfield, not having Keita in there. I'm going to say a 2-2 draw again for Liverpool. I just do like West Ham's offensive capabilities.
Yeah, their attack right now is looking pretty good, especially after last week. Do we have a prediction, or was your prediction Daka?
Yeah, Daka. And then just a random one. I have a feeling there's going to be like a random Tottenham player that makes an appearance for some reason. I don't know who that would be.
Their squad real quick, and we'll end the pod.
Harry Winks, maybe.
Harry Winks. Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
Let me see this.
Joe Rodon.
Oh gosh. Let me see. Let me go through their squad. I hope it's Golini.
Tanganga back in the lineup, maybe. I don't know.
Davison Sanchez, Matt Doherty. There's a lot of options. Harry Winks. I forgot they still have Ryan Sessegnon.
Yeah, that was a bad move for him.
They ruined that man. Brian Heel. Is he getting in there? I think he's hurt. Bergvine. That's my pick. Steve Bergvine. Even though he subbed on last week, I think he starts or something.
Yeah, other than that, I mean, the Cornier brace, that's a prediction.
Boy.
So
You got 3 you're rolling this week.
yeah. Can't keep track of one. I
No.
definitely can't keep track
We
of
throw
three.
them out there just for entertainment value, and
Yeah.
that's simply what this is.
We're like the guys on the sports shows where they just rattle off hot takes and are not held accountable for them at all. So
Sam, the game is slowing down for Emile Smith-Rowe. He's seeing what he has to do out there.
I cannot believe the way he is playing. He is absolutely on another level.
That's the worst part about American soccer pundits is that they just use like buzzwords half the time and stuff.
The way he moved to the touchline was incredible.
Oh my gosh.
Next thing you know, Mr. Smith is commentating on soccer. I watch the World Cup. I watch Ronaldo. I watch Messi. Emile Smith-Rowe, he's right up there for me. This has been the Premiership Perusal Podcast. Thank you for listening.